when I started this journey as an agency, I'm still discovering the type of clients I want to work with. So I wanted to ask, like, how long did it take you to figure out the type of clients you want to work with?
Oh, so okay. So are you still coaching, or are you talking about like you want to focus on like an agency business where you're doing client
So
work?
now I am only focusing on the agency. I really want to build that up because within the agency, you do get some coaching because we produce the show, like
Got it.
what
Got
you're
it.
doing. And afterwards, we'll tell you, hey, this is what you could do better, or
Hmm.
this was really good. Um, a lot of
So
entrepreneurs don't know what to do.
okay. So from my experience, what I've done is in the beginning, what I was like, okay, I'm gonna go after these type of clients. I love working with these kind of clients. I try to like set a goal, set a vision, and say, okay, this is the niche that I'm going to. That didn't really work out so well um, because I think that when if you're not really in a niche and you try to force a niche, there's a lot about that niche that you don't really know about. Do you understand what I mean? And for me, how it worked out. So in the beginning, I was like that. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go after tech startups because I love working and building apps and building websites for tech startups, and I love the tech startup culture, and I'm gonna go after that. But what ended up happening is, um, most most tech startups that wanted to hire us, agencies, were really like tech startups that have barely minimum funding, or they were kind of like funding themselves, so they didn't have money. Right, the ones that just got a 10 million, they raised $10 million or whatever, they were hiring designers and developers in house. They weren't really looking for an agency to build stuff for them. So I didn't realize that. Looking back, I'm like, oh, of course, obviously, if I just got $10 million in funding, I'm gonna hire my own people. Why would I hire an agency, right? Like, so I only ended up attracting like the startups that don't have money. And another thing I realized is like startups that don't have money, they're gonna be on your ass because this is literally they're spending money out of their own pocket to pay for your service. So it's gonna be a headache client. Whereas in the client that I'm working with that are like CMOs or marketing directors of a bigger company, it's not their own money. So they're not as they're not as micromanaging about the work, right? So we realize like we're making no money and we're doing tons of work because these clients need everything because they're startups, right? So that kind of didn't work out. We did that for like the first 2 years, and then we were just struggling so much, right? And then we worked with one tech startup, which happened to be, um, it's called Ambio Health, and it is a tech startup, but it was founded by a bunch of like, you know, like finance background people, so they had a lot of money, and we built this app for them, and it it was like it won all these design awards in the medical industry, but it was like an old school tech startup. It wasn't like one of this fancy tech startup. It was kind of like an old school medical type of tech startup. And what happened was that got us another project for another pharmaceutical company, and that got us project for a hospital, and which got us like, and then all these other hospitals started coming to us, and somehow we accidentally fell into this like medical pharmaceutical hospital world. And once we got in that world, one of the clients said, oh, in order for you to work on our website or our system, I need whoever's working on it needs to be HIPAA certified. Because so HIPAA is like this um, regulation where when you work on hospital system, they have to be secure. The patient data has to be secure, so we had to follow certain procedures. So we all got certified in that, right? But once we got certified in that, every hospital that came to us, now we were competing against other agency, and we were the only HIPAA certified agency. So we automatically won the job, and just once we did few hospital websites, every hospital came, and it was like I didn't even have to sell because Oh, you guys already done three. Oh, you guys are HIPAA certified. Oh, you understand our clinical research system, our clinical information system. It became a no brainer, right? So somehow we accidentally fell into the that healthcare uh, kind of industry. Now, one day Gabby Bernstein walked in. Okay, by the way, what happened was even though I was in that industry, like I hated that because it was very corporate. I felt like I was back in like a 9 to 5 job. Like I was just doing this boring hospital projects and things like that, and we couldn't really innovate too much. Everything has to be boring. And but then about, I would say, maybe 6 years ago, um, Gabby Bernstein found us, and she wanted to do it. And this was like, she wasn't that big back then. She she had like this like really shitty website, and she wanted, like, this was the first time she was like investing into marketing, and we did this website for her. But while working with her, I found this. I reignited my passion for making website because I was working with her directly, with the stakeholder directly, rather than working with some marketing manager who just doesn't want to get fired, doesn't couldn't care less about the project, right? So we had fun. We did a lot of innovative stuff, and that website started like people started featuring, because personal brand websites, are pretty boring. They're pretty basic, but her website was like off the hook. Like we did a lot of like innovative stuff on there, and it started getting featured on all these blogs, top 10 personal branding website, and like we also had our link on the website, so everybody that, and it was like a high traffic website, so everybody that came to the site, like, they loved it. And all these personal brands started coming to us. She started referring us to all these personal brands. And after a while, what I realized is that a lot of these personal brands, also same thing, you all use similar platforms. They all use what's called Infusionsoft, which is like a newsletter software that a lot of these people use. They all use like things like ClickFunnels. They use like, so what I realized is that a lot of them also do very similar things. And once we started doing them, we started getting really good at it, right? So when a personal brand comes to us now, it's kind of like, you've done Gabby's, you've done Jay Shetty, you've done this, and you guys are already proficient in Infusionsoft. You already know how to set up these funnels, and so it becomes a no brainer again, right? So we accidentally fell into this niche, and I don't think that you can force a niche. What you do is, you what are what are people coming to you for, and then what ends up happening is once you become proficient in some of the things that they use, because what happens is a lot of times, that's, I think, the best part about the niche is that when you do this type of video, everyone in the industry kind of have similar problems. They have similar technology. They have similar tools that they use. That when you speak their language, it's almost it becomes a no brainer choice for them.